Okay, so my first time trying this, so people might have to bear with me for a second, but I'm doing something for YouTube because, well, I don't do a lot for YouTube, and also it'd be kind of hard to do this on Twitch. It's been a long time coming, but I finally got the Druid DLC for Portal Knights, and I also got Portal Knights again since I lost access to it. And after messing with the class for about 10 hours, I've realized this is probably the most versatile class in the game, considering my brain came up with 3 different ways to run it right off the bat. This first build is kind of what I feel would be kind of typical for Druid, but I wanted to make something that was a well-rounded class that would make the Druid easy for anybody to play. Even newbies to Portal Knights could play this game and not have trouble fighting, at least up until the Hollow King. I didn't get to test against anything else because, well, I lack a lot of people to play this game with, so there's that. But I will test it against other stuff. Right now, this class is kind of lackluster when it comes to damage output and stuff. It's a multi-strike build that takes advantage of the high wisdom pool. But there's not a lot that I can do to boost my damage other than use Warcry. And you can see things are still working just fine. But this class, damage-wise, I have yet to be able to one-phase the Hollow. It's just a lot of fun to play this build, and it has a very high sustainability of life, so that way anyone can actually use it. Essentially, I'm calling this one something like typical Druid, I guess. Sorry about the sound. Basically, this is your typical, what I would say is a normal Druid, you know? Oh, well, the volume's actually not that bad. You know, you're in, you're out, you got some heal spells and some other spells that sustain life just to help out allies if you're playing on a team or something. Also keep yourself alive. The Warcry boosting your damage. You can also run, Deafening Roar if you're having a little bit too much trouble taking damage and dodging on a constant. This class can also be played without having to rely on the shapeshift ability of the Druid. As you can see, my bar does not have any shapeshift in it. Technically, in my bag I do have shapeshifts. A couple of these are for a different class build that I'm going to be working on to put up for YouTube as well. But if you had to run something with this, since there's lack of earth weapons, I guess you could go with the Poison Spider for some range damage, you know, help with your damage output and stuff. And you can also run the Shadow Bear if you're going to be in people's face more, to have the armor and health and try and be more of a tank than an actual backseat player and try and heal and stuff. Obviously you can run some other spells instead of having mana potions like I do. I probably will myself. I'll probably grab Planetary Strike level 2 and Greater Poison Rain, a bunch of other stuff. I'll probably mix in a bunch of spells since I'm taking advantage of the high mana pool for the character. Obviously I have these rings here for if I test out the Electric Worm, the Water Boss, whatever. The other weapons in my inventory are part of either this build or the other build as well. But for this build we're running Sickles for the high attack speed. We got Warcry to boost our damage output and Friend's damage output if you're playing with other people. Obviously, you know, if you're playing with a fighter with high strength, you want to prioritize which one of you has Warcry and which one of you has Deafening Roar based on your needs. Light Bomb level 2 because it heals everybody and does damage. And you got your Masterwork heal, which I'll probably upgrade to an Archmage heal if I got the time for it. I don't know. To me, Masterwork heal is okay. This is a low health build, kind of, and also kind of already using a lot of mana with the Warcry and Light Bomb level 2. So if you go to an Archmage heal, you're going to be sacking off a lot of mana, and you're going to probably need some more Wisdom pool going on with your class. Other than that, I just run them potions and whatever else you need to stay alive. For the actual armor and stuff, I have the Outlaw Hood for multi-strike and additional strikes. I have the chestplate of the Guardian Ascendant, which is the Astral Heart upgraded version of the High Warden Tunic. And because I'm playing a Druid, I went with this one because it gives more defense and it gives better stats. Same with the gauntlets, the bracers of the Guardian Ascendant. I farmed a chest for the High Warden gloves and upgraded them with an Astral Heart because they give the most health regen, and spell damage resistance that I've seen out of most of the equipment that I had access to. Again, just a benefit of being a Druid, you can use the level, whatever you want to call it, 5, 6 tier armor that they give you. Gladiator Champion leg braces for multi-strike and additional strikes. Shroud of the Spectral Mage because we're boosting the mana pool some more to take advantage of the high wisdom pool that's already there, and we have mana regeneration, so we don't have to use as many potions as most people would actually end up using. And then there's the Ring of Divine Protection, which is, you know, light damage resistance, but also has additional strikes and multi-strike chance, and will probably be your main ring unless you're fighting one of the bigger bosses like the dragon or the worm. Technically, this class is not really meant to fight the dragon by itself. I made a class for that with the Rune Knight because the Rune Knight is the only one that is guaranteed, as long as you use your potion correctly and your shout correctly, the Rune Knight will live through everything. This class is not built that way. I do have a total of 1229 for armor right now, and as far as I could look around and see in the 10 to 12 hours that I spent trying to make this character and the build for it, that's about as high as I got. And that's because of the need for the multi-strike chance off of the Outlaw Hood and everything. It just kind of ended up being a low ball on armor, but gonna be honest, my multi-strike fighter might have about roughly the same armor on her as this class does right now. So all in all, not that bad. If anyone's wondering about the vanity, I'm just using Primal Brute stuff from the Druid Station and the Cape of the Unlawful Taker, which I think might be a rogue cape. I'm not entirely sure. Anyways, onto the stats. We have 38 Constitution, which I think is the typical Constitution that I remember hearing about for a Druid. And with our equipment being the sickle and stuff, and the gauntlets with the health boost as well, it gets us up to 1269 for health, which honestly, you can take probably 2.5 of those things from the Hollow King without getting any lucky heals in, and you'll be fine still. 90 strength, because that's about as high as I could put it, varying the stats to make this an all-rounder kind of build. It still has a base of 148, but as you saw, I was hitting multi-strikes of a crit of like 700 something for multi-strike crit, which is not horrible. 70 wisdom pool. I only put 2 points into wisdom because the base stats for the Druid equal 68 strength and 68 wisdom. I only put 2 points in here to just round it up to 70 real good, and then the cape gets me up to 1400 mana pool, which is helpful when you're casting spells that cost 300 mana quite frequently. Intelligence, I got up to 45. Technically, I had this at 45 well before I hit level 30, just to test out the capabilities of the magic strength at that low of an intelligence. Another build I'm doing with the Druid is going to have higher intelligence and kind of take advantage of more of the spell casting aspect with having the melee as more of a backup kind of situation. Well, I guess that's kind of how it's supposed to work. But for this one, being an all-rounder, I put it at 45 because that's how the stats worked out. And until I hit level 30, I was right underneath 100 base damage for magical attacks. And if you saw the Light Bomb when the Hollow King was knocked, it does close to 1800 damage for a Light Bomb level 2, which is not horrible for a class that's not entirely based on magic. I think my my Ranger that I built the Bard class on has roughly the same damage output with his intelligence stat as well, and I think his intelligence stat is either 45 or 50. So, I don't know. But either way, it works out absolutely fine. Again, this class is more of an all-rounder just to have fun with and make the game easier for people. It's not really high damage, high break the game kind of stuff. I'm running Sickle Expert for the extra damage with the sickle, obviously. I'm running Warden of the Woods, which increases health by 15% and doubles the bonus while shapeshifting, so I get extra health off of that. Predatory Bite, which adds a 10% chance to leech to heal you for 25% of the damage dealt. And obviously it's doubled when you're shapeshifted, which comes in handy if you really need to hit that big red button. Heals your party and you after defeating an enemy for pack heal. Again, this class is one where you can play with people and be in and out, you know, cast a heal, cast a light bomb, heal your entire party up, and then back up if you need to yourself, or stay in there and deal a bunch of damage and then get out. So the pack heal comes in handy to help keep everyone alive, including yourself again. Fang of a... I don't even want to try and say that. Whatever this ability is, attackers receive earth damage. So the way I decided this one was, you either get this, which boosts your crit damage after standing still, but this is a game where most of the boss fights and other situations, you're not holding still for 2 seconds or more. Not unless your controller dies. Maybe that's just me. And the Unmerciful Tide is every 5th attack during Shapeshift, which this class doesn't focus on Shapeshift, so that word right there takes that one out of the equation. But this is more of the defensive aspect, where if something damages you, it's going to take earth damage in return, so that way you're dealing even more damage without even having to swing your weapon at that point. So it comes in handy, especially if you get crowded by a bunch of enemies that are physical damage dealers. The next one up for 25 is Agile Predator. It increases your armor protection by 10%, while shapeshifting, it increases your chance of dodging successfully by 10%. And we're taking advantage of the armor protection more than the dodging with this class. I think with my stats the way they are, it gives me about 120 more armor on my armor stat. I'm at 1229 right now. And if I take this off and we'll put on Animal Friendly just for a second. Yeah, it gives me 111 defense having that skill equipped, which is usually a matter between life and death between some things. If you're running a more offensive version of this, and you're going to be in a lot of people's faces smacking things instead, you could always run Entangle, try and hold things in place for a little bit. But I still recommend the Agile Predator for the extra defense and everything. And then the last tree is, you know, it's a mix of shapeshifting, or just extra melee damage. And considering this is a leech build with multi-strike, when you're at full health, melee damage is increased by 10%. 9 times out of 10, even if you take damage with this build, you're going to be back up to full health after a couple swings of your weapon, or casting a spell. So you're going to be constantly being at full HP and getting a 10% increase to your melee damage, which is going to help you out in the long run, dealing damage to everything in the game. But that's the gist of this one, you know, some minutely high constitution, an average strength, average wisdom, but, you know, high wisdom pool off of that. And then a really low intelligence stat, honestly, but the intelligence still hits like a truck. Like I said, you can hit for 1800 with a crit with the light bomb level 2, which is not horrible. Most mages hit that with a 68 intelligence half the time for a low ball. So this class is doing really good for an all-rounder that I slapped together in all of like 10 hours. It does have a very low leech chance, very low leech percentage rate, being that it's only 20 and 25. But I wanted to get spell damage resistance in there. I also wanted to have some health bonuses, some mana bonuses. Again, all-rounder kind of build. And yeah, I think it came out pretty well, and you know, everybody can hit this build and use it even if they're new to the game and stuff. And as I said, if you're gonna run some shapeshift things by the time you hit level 30 or whatever, I would recommend the Poison Spider, the Light Spider, or the Shadow Bearer, basically, because I don't really know much about the shapeshift. I haven't had a chance to test it other than bouncing around as a slime, which I'm gonna admit is absolutely the most fun thing I've had, and I did it at level 1 for like 5 minutes straight. I was just bouncing around as a slime for the fuck of it. That's just me. But this class was meant so you don't have to rely on hitting the big red button and turning into a shapeshift. Because I think a lot of people take advantage of the high strength or high constitution that they can make on a druid and just say, oh, I'm in trouble, I'm down to like half my health, let's hit a shapeshift. This class does the opposite. You don't use the shapeshift unless absolutely necessary. Personally, myself, I'm probably going to play my Druid like this, even after making the other builds that I'm going to make. I'm probably going to revert him to this with a Potion of the Void or whatever, like I'm going to use to make the other builds right now, because I'm not going to do like a bunch of different Druids. Not right now. That takes too long. But yeah, essentially, not that hard of a build to use. It doesn't have high DPS, but it has a substantially medium to high DPS and also a very high survivability rate for anyone who's struggling and just wants to play around and have fun with a class. I was sitting here laughing my ass off about things, humming in the background, just having a freaking blast playing the game with this build, and this was my first attempt at it. And I mean, I was trying to map out the points in my head, and they all just kind of came together at the end. You know, I was gonna go 40 con, but my constitution was doing fine, and have 88 strength, but I decided on 90 strength and 38 because it just fit. Again, you don't need the 2 points in wisdom, so if you're really struggling on health, you can drop the 2 points from wisdom and put them into constitution. No big deal. But for me, I'm gonna probably run my Druid this way most of the time, just because it's a lot of fun to play, and it's really easy to play. And I'm just enjoying it. For now, Portal Knights will probably be a YouTube thing, and hopefully it gets as much attention as it used to, because my other video about the Reaper build, which was the physical mage that I made, it was a physical tanking mage that I made with Leech, is just over 200 views now. So that one's kind of my most popular video, surprisingly enough. And I haven't had this game or access to this game in about 6 or 7 months. For now I'm doing this video. We'll see how it does, and if this one gets a bunch of attention, then I'll probably do the other Druid loadouts that I'm planning regardless of how this video does. But if they do good, then I'll do some more Portal Knight stuff in the background for YouTube. That's about it, you know. I hope you guys are enjoying all the content. I try and work really hard on it between Twitch and YouTube, and go ahead and give this class a try yourself and enjoy beating the crap out of things and just having a blast using the high wisdom pool and you know, attacking fast with the sickle. I mean, it's a lot of fun. Trust me. I'm gonna get out of here. I'll catch you guys in the next video or the next upload from Twitch. In the meantime, have a good one.